All right. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verses 12 through 14 says, "While the king was at his table, my perfume, or spikenard, gave forth its fragrance. My beloved is to me a pouch of myrrh which lies all night between my breasts. My beloved is to me a cluster of henna blossoms in the vineyards of En-Gedi." So this is really intense, and I think it's important to remember where she is in the story. She just said, "Hey, I'm hungry. I need to be fed." And not only does he tell her where to be fed, but he validates her, tells her all these things. You're beautiful, and it's just an intense moment in her life. And then we pick up here in the story, and she's sitting at the king's table. So not only did he respond for her when she said, "Where do you feed your flock?" He brings her to his very own table, and the God who, he puts a table in the presence of our own enemies. He sits her there, and it's this great privilege. She's sitting at the king's table. She's feasting on the realities of the cross, the benefits of his sacrifice and his love for her. And it makes me think, when we're hungry for the Lord, when we're desiring him, whose table do you sit at? I think a lot of times we get caught up at sitting at our pastor's table, which can be great. He has a lot of things that he can share with us. We might be sitting at our friend's table, or the table of YouTube and YouTube preachers and all those kind of things. But there's something that we can receive from him. The affection and his delight and the emotions, the person of Jesus, that's something that we cannot feast on and receive through somebody else. It requires us actually being at his table. We've got to sit across from him like a dinner date, right? All right. Then she says, "My perfume, or my spikenard, gave forth its fragrances." So she's sitting there feasting on his sacrifice and his love for her, and spontaneous worship begins to break out. Just like Mary when she broke the perfume at Jesus' feet, right? And the fragrance filled the entire room. That spontaneous worship, that expression of her love and excitement is a testimony to everybody around her. She reveals the benefits of the cross to our hearts. Worship will always break open. And keep in mind, she's still dark. She's still struggling with sin and struggling with half-hearted obedience. And she's kind of on the journey to love-based, wholehearted obedience. And she's still kind of immature right here. So it's not like she's got everything put together and now her worship actually means something because she's totally flawless in this moment. She's growing. She's walking in her new identity, starting to. It's important to know that immature believers who worship out of their brokenness will release a sweet perfume to heaven, just like when Mary broke that perfume at the feet of Jesus. She was broken. She was getting everything, and she breaks it at the feet of Jesus, and that's a testimony we're still talking about today. That's a moment in history we talk about today of extravagant and costly worship. Even though here in Song of Solomon the bride is immature, it is still a pleasing fragrance to the Lord. She then says, "My beloved is to me a pouch of myrrh, a sachet of myrrh, which lies at nights between my breasts, or on my chest, or near my heart." Myrrh is an expensive perfume that was used by the wealthy for a burial spice. Myrrh was given to Jesus when he was born as a prophetic symbol. It was in the perfume that was broken at his feet. And it speaks of the reality of embracing a lifestyle of the cross, of denying our old self, right? We're putting to death the old self and receiving a brand new identity. We were once those caught in sin. Our reputation was a sinner, but now through Christ, through his sacrifice, through his death, we share in that and we receive a new identity according to him. Myrrh speaks of sacrifice. A pouch of myrrh that rests on her chest or her heart through the night means she is committed to him even unto death, that she's willing to sacrifice everything, even in the night seasons or the difficult seasons. She's willing to sacrifice that unto death that she might have him. That's a huge reality. It's a common theme throughout the Song of Solomon, so we'll revisit that And she says it, my beloved is to me a cluster of henna blossoms in the vineyards of En-gedi. Now, henna blossoms are a beautiful, fragrant flower. You can look them up. They're great. The Hebrew word for henna is kopher, I think is how you say it, which can also be translated as atonement. So this is intense. She's having this prophetic revelation of Jesus, the one who's going to atone us for sins, right? His atonement is like this flower, this beautiful flower, and she says that he's like a cluster. So he's plentiful. There's so much available in the grace of Jesus and in the atonements that he provides for us. En-gedi was an oasis that had vineyards that yielded some of the greatest fragrances throughout the entire land of Israel. En-gedi means fountain of the Lamb. It's just intense. The tenderness and the beauty of the lamb slain intoxicates our soul. It intoxicates our hearts and our emotions. This fountain of the Lamb, my beloved, to me is a sacrifice, one who's going to lay down everything to atone for my sin, to atone for my darkness that I've been struggling with. He's provided a way out of that for us. Bless you guys.